Hey everyone, old school Pokemon here. Today's video got something a little bit different for everyone. Decided to start a podcast series focused more or less on the business side of Pokemon, selling Pokemon cards, talking about the business aspect of Pokemon, selling on eBay, best platforms to sell on, so on and so forth. Be talking about all kinds of business related topics and topics relating to Pokemon. Joined with my co-host Dan. You might know him on E4. Gotta catch 'em all. His eBay store, Ketchum All Collectibles, and he also just started a YouTube, Ketchum All Collectibles. I'll leave links to all those in the description below if you want to check him out. So, how you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I figured for this first episode, we'll just kind of get some background information, talk about more or less our passion for Pokemon, how we got into Pokemon back in the day, back when it was released in '99, and then kind of move on to our re-entry into the hobby and more or less just how we got back into the hobby, how we started hopping on eBay, started selling on eBay, so on and so forth, and just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so I'm Dan. I'm gotta catch them all on E4, like Nick mentioned. My story back in 1999, I was in fourth, fifth grade. It's a fairly typical story. I actually got a lot more into the games. I Pokemon Yellow was the first game that I played, and I collected the cards too. Didn't really watch the anime, didn't play the card game at all, but the video game was the main focus. And um I stuck with it through Sapphire. Was the last game that I played. I went from Yellow to Crystal to Sapphire. And then the last sets that I had been collecting were, I had a couple of the gym sets and maybe a Neo card or two, but not too much. Base, Jungle, Fossil were my main three sets. So that's where most of my nostalgia lies. And then the video game, though, Crystal was my favorite game. So Gen 1, Gen 2, all the way from me. How about yourself, Nick?
Now, did you start with yellow or did you play red or blue first?
I started with Yellow. I had some cousins who had the game, so I probably had a little bit of playtime on Red or Blue before getting my own. But yeah, I owned Yellow first.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I never got into the video games myself. I played them. My friends had them, so I would play with my friends every once in a while. But I never got into the video games too much. I was into the anime. I remember watching that every day after school. And then I was somewhat into the cards as well. I wasn't huge into the cards. I remember opening some base set one packs, obviously all unlimited. And then I actually remember opening a Brushfire theme deck back in the day. Again, just unlimited. And back then, I'm sure it's true with everyone, really didn't know anything about the cards. So when I remember getting that Brushfire theme deck for Christmas one year, and I was so excited because I thought I had a chance of pulling the Charizard out of that theme deck. But nowadays, we know it just has the unlimited base set Ninetales. So I collected the cards from base set through Fossil fairly regularly, and then I specifically remember when I got out of collecting and kind of moved on to everything else was with the release of Team Rocket. I remember my mom and I went to Walmart one night and she bought me a pack of the Team Rocket cards. And when we got back out to the car, I opened it and saw all these dark Pokemon and the different look of the cards and all that, and really wasn't a big fan of that. So I kind of got out of Pokemon right at the release of Team Rocket and moved more into video games and kind of forgot about Pokemon from there. So it was probably just 99, early 2000, and then I was done with it.
Yeah. Going back to, you had mentioned the Brushfire deck, and anybody who knows you knows that you're like the no damage Ninetales guy. Is that where that connection came up?
That was actually that could be. I've actually never thought of that. I was thinking about that as I was just saying that, but I'd that connection came later when I got back into the hobby. Um, for whatever reason, when I got back into the hobby, this is 2009. Um, I found that no damage card fairly early on, but even back then, I was just in high school, so it was beyond my price range, but it was something that I thought was cool and something that I always wanted. So when I was finally able to actually afford one, I kind of got addicted to buying them. So now,
So you didn't get lucky with that first Brushfire theme deck. You didn't like pull a Shadowless no damage Ninetales in that deck.
no, I wish. No,
Oh,
that initial deck was just unlimited cards. Yeah, I don't remember having any first edition or unlimited or first edition or shadowless back in 99 2000. I think it was just all unlimited cards for me.
yeah, that's pretty much the same for me too.
So now, did you collect anything else after Pokemon, or was it that pretty much it for you?
Pokemon was definitely the cards were my first collectible for sure. And then, like I mentioned, I got out of it very early 2000s, kind of when the general school population did too, when it became uncool. That's
Yeah.
kind of when I got out, I guess. I played the games a little longer than collecting the cards, but the next collectible I got into would probably be mid high school. My grandfather gave me an old box of coins that he had, and wheat pennies, walking Liberty half dollars, some of the barber dimes and quarters, and so that really got me going into the coins for a few years. I was really big into coins, and then later on, I got into beer steins and stuff like that. If anyone remembers my old eBay username that had Steins in the name, I used to collect Saranac Brewery. They make Utica Club too. I live really close to there, and they have like these advertising mugs. They're they're like character steins, and so I coins and steins, and then I'm obviously back into Pokemon cards now, and I'm slowly trying to work my way back into coins again. But that's kind of the progression of my collecting throughout my life. I've always been collecting something.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, we'll have to do a whole other episode on different collectibles, because I know we've talked about it. We've talked about it before. We're both fairly
Yep,
into coin collecting, and I know I did one
yep.
video where I briefly showed some silver eagles that I had in the background, and there was actually a decent amount of interest from people who said I should do more like coin related videos and stuff like that. So in a future podcast episode, we'll definitely dive more into the other collectibles that we do, because I know we're both big into coins. So that'd be a fun thing to discuss and talk about.
Yeah, yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of interesting topics, certain things that as far as print runs go, you get a lot of that with coins and Pokemon. Obviously, it's anybody's guess, but yeah, definitely that'll be a fun episode down the line.
Oh yeah, definitely. So now, when did you when did you when did you get back into Pokemon? Or what I guess what came first? Did you get back into Pokemon, or did you start out on eBay?
So eBay, I guess my origins with eBay we can start with because that was first.
Okay.
I want to say it was late high school. I remember going to GameStop. I'm pretty sure it was GameStop or maybe it was EB Games at the time. One of the game stores that pays you nothing for your video games. I took back several of my PlayStation 2 games and I wanted to get some store credit to trade in for some newer game, whatever it was, I don't remember. But I remember that they offered me about 10 cents to 50 cents on most of my games. So
That's
I
typical
left,
right there.
yeah, I left with my shopping bag of used games that they tried giving me $2 for, and I went home, and my parents had an eBay account at the time. That's actually something I didn't bring up, but I never pulled the Charizard myself when I was younger. My mom actually bought it for me off eBay. I think that's when she like created an eBay, and so I kind of took that eBay over, and I sold my own video games. And these games that the game store was trying to give me 10 cents for, I was able to sell for 5, 10, 15 bucks. Funny enough, I remember one of the games I sold. I sold it for like $6 or $7, and I thought I was doing so well. And I went to the post office and I bought their packing supplies and their tape. And then by the time I shipped it out and everything, I lost like $1 on it. So the
Yeah.
10 cents didn't seem so bad anymore. But I learned a lot with that experience. And overall, once I found how to get supplies a bit cheaper and then sold the rest of my games, overall, I still did well. But that was a good learning experience to sell one item at a loss, actually.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, those times instances where you actually lose money or have an unsuccessful sale are definitely better learning experiences than the times you actually make money on eBay.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah, and then so that was late high school probably, and then my
okay.
reentry, my large scale reentry into the hobby when I like dove right back in was around Phantom Forces was the newest set. Um, but we talked a little bit last night, and I didn't remember the exact details around it or exactly when it happened, but I went back through my old PayPal transactions, and in 2009 I actually have what I'd call like a missed re-entry into the hobby. I think what had happened was, I can only vaguely remember it, but we moved. At that point my family was moving houses. I think it was my sophomore year of college, and I must have came across my binder and like, hey, I'm missing Jungle Wigglytuff still. I'm missing Base Set Zapdos still. And I went on eBay and I'm like, can I buy these things? Can I sell the cards that I have? Thankfully, I went the way of like buying the ones that I needed instead of just selling off everything I had, because then maybe I wouldn't be here today. But I bought like half a dozen to a dozen cards that I needed to just fill the holes in my binders in between April and May, and then I was like done. So I did that in 2009 out of nowhere, and then I didn't come back in until 2014.
Wow, that's different.
It's really weird, and I'm thinking more on it after I saw the dates. I'm like, that's definitely right around when we moved, and I can only think like I was moving stuff out of one closet into my new closet, whatever, and saw the binder, a little bit of nostalgia hit, but not enough to get me like diving fully back in, unfortunately.
Yeah, yep. Now, so the first question I'd have for you, going back to eBay, was were your parents selling on eBay as well, or were they mostly on eBay for buying, and you kind of had to figure out the whole selling process yourself?
I don't think they ever sold anything on eBay. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think at the time it had a handful of feedback from like the Charizard lot that she had bought me for Christmas one year, and some other miscellaneous things. But um, yeah, I'm pretty sure they had just bought a few things, and then I took it over and turned it into to what my eBay is today after a couple name changes.
Yeah, I see. I think it was one of the my Shining Fates, or Shining Fates video that I uploaded. I gave your old eBay store name, not even realizing you changed it.
Yeah, that Stein's in the name because I was doing
Yep.
all the beer Stein stuff and beer memorabilia. But so I guess same questions back to you. Your re-entry into Pokemon, if and when that coincided with your entry into eBay, how that all went.
Yeah, so like I said, I got out of the hobby right around 2000. Kind of forgot all about it. Moved into video games, and then fast forward to 2009. I was a sophomore in high school at the time. Didn't have any type of part-time job or anything like that. And there was some new video game that was coming out that I really wanted to get, and obviously I didn't have the money to buy it. My parents didn't want to buy it for me at that time. So I was looking around or cleaning out my room one day, looking around, and I stumbled upon all the old Pokemon cards that I had growing up as a kid. And for whatever reason, I don't know what made me think about this, but for whatever reason, I thought about the possibility of selling these cards in order to get some money to purchase this video game. So luckily for me, the reason why I asked if your parents had sold on eBay was luckily for me, my dad's always been into coins, and he had a retail coin shop, and he also sold coins on eBay. So he'd been on eBay since '99, since the beginning, or basically the beginning of eBay. So I was familiar with eBay through him, and he'd been selling on eBay for quite a number of years. So I was familiar with the selling process through him. So I went up to my dad with my Pokemon cards and asked him if he'd help me list these on eBay to try and get some extra money for him. And fortunately, of course, he helped me out with that. So I at the time I really don't know anything about these cards, so I organize them the best I can. Put all the shiny cards together, and then all the character cards, trainer cards, energy cards, whatever. Put them in 9 pocket pages, make them look nice. Take all the pictures, write up a nice description. We posted it as a 7-day auction, starting off at 99 cents, and from there on out, I just got addicted to the process of selling on eBay. I remember coming home from school every day, hopping on the computer, looking at how many people have viewed the item, how many people were watching the item, what the price point was, answer any emails about the listing. And finally, after
Mm-hmm.
after the 7 days, the my collection sold for was like 20-25 bucks. Wasn't much at all, but I was just so happy and completely addicted to the process of just selling stuff on eBay. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it started for me. Instead of taking that money and buying whatever video game at the time I had wanted, um, the following weekend, or within a week or two of that initial listing, my dad and I went to one of his coin wholesalers, and there was a two-player starter deck display case that the guy had from back in the day when Pokemon initially released. And so I was talking to the owner of this shop about that display case, telling him how I had just recently sold my collection, and now I was trying to think of other things that I can sell on eBay. Where I had a little bit of knowledge with the Pokemon, I was asking him about this display case, and thankfully we reached a deal for me and my dad purchased that display case for a whopping $75, which is
Oh
insane
wow.
compared to today.
I think that's less than original retail, right? Weren't those 9.99?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
That's awesome.
um so I bought that display case, and at this time I still don't know anything about Pokemon. So I ended up opening the display case, opening all the theme decks, thinking that each theme deck would have different cards in it. But as it turns out, each of the theme decks has the exact same cards, and you have about 30
Yeah.
energy cards within each of those theme decks. But I broke them all down, created nice little, like, grab bags, I guess you can call them, of those cards with some card sleeves and 9 pocket pages, whatever. And ended up selling everything from that display case. Made a little bit of money. I forget how much I made off of that one, but just kind of snowballed from there. After I did that, I purchased another collection, broke that up, sold it, and then kind of just kept adding those funds into different purchases and expanding my business from there. As far as
So,
oh, go ahead.
so everything you have today, is it basically like, is it all seeded from that original binder, or have you like injected more money over the years?
So I wish like I know you and I know James, Z&G Emporium. You both started your eBay businesses from like a certain set amount and kind of grown from there. Personally,
Yeah.
I've injected a lot of other money from my full-time job into my eBay business.
Okay.
Yeah.
In hindsight, had I done that, I mean, I'd be so much further ahead. But my my initial thoughts were, I'm I'm passionate for the franchise, for the hobby. I allocated $5,000 of, this is what I'm going to allow myself to spend to build a nice collection. And then it just became, anytime I wanted to add a single card, I'd buy multiples of them,
Yep.
grade some, and sell the rest so that I could accumulate more. Or say I wanted to get a new set, I'd buy a whole binder with a couple cards that I wanted, sell the rest to just plow back into it. But
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off there. I think you were going on with something else.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. The other thing I was gonna say was, um, unlike I feel like my situation is a little bit different than a lot of people. So I got back into the selling aspect of Pokemon in 2009, like I said. But I was never a collector back then. It was strictly business for me. I didn't actually start collecting until 2016, after I had graduated from college and started working full time and kind of had some more money, um, to
Mhm.
put into Pokemon.
What would you say? So from 2009 to 2016, it was pretty much buying to profit. When
Yep.
you re-entered in 2016, what would you say were like, okay, I'm deciding I'm going to collect? What were your initial goals?
When I first started collecting, my initial goal was unlimited base jungle and fossil sets, just near mint copies of those sets. And then after that was accomplished, then I moved into finishing up the WotC sets in unlimited, so all the way to Skyridge. And then I got into the first editions, and then I got into booster packs and theme decks, no damage Ninetales. And it's definitely got the collector bug going on now.
So every goal you finish, you create two new goals to keep you going, right?
or I don't finish one and start another one. I'm terrible about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm the
Once
same
one goal
way.
gets real tough, or I get down to like the last few expensive cards, maybe I can't find them at the time, then I'll hop into a new goal and start that one.
Hmm.
Hmm. So how about yourself? How
Yeah,
did
I
you
know
go ahead?
you were gonna ask what my initial goals were when I got back in.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so 2014, I had that kind of missed opportunity to get back in 2009 that I had mentioned. But when I got back in 2014, I honestly don't even remember what caused it. Maybe I came across my binder again, or I honestly don't even fully remember. But I know that it was around the time of Phantom Forces, and I I think I had found E4 pretty right around that time, late 2014, and I realized that the franchise was still going strong. There were all these new Pokemon I'd never met before. There were all these sets, like Phantom Forces was number 60 something, I think, and we're like at 80 something now with Battle Styles.
Yep.
But I thought like, man, I've missed so much. I'm gonna take $5,000 and I'm gonna collect everything that I missed. And when I set that goal, like my initial thinking was like all the sets. So Phantom Forces was set 60 or 60 whatever, and I had gotten out around like I mentioned the Jim Neo era somewhere in there. So to make up for lost time, I was let me buy one box of every set and open it up and fill binders and just make up for lost time. It was a really lofty goal, and $5,000 wasn't nearly enough to buy like every single box. But one thing that I found kind of an inefficiency in the market, and I know PokeRev was a guy who was doing kind of the same thing, just a way bigger scale. But I was buying Fossil and Jungle booster boxes for $300 to $500 a piece, and cracking them, grading all the hollows. I graded some of the non-hollows here and there too, just to add the 9s to my collection, sell the 10s. Once I found out what weighing was, I did it on the up and up. I would sell the light packs to pack art collectors. But yeah, that was the main goal. And then it took me a few years, sometime in 2016 or 2017, I think I finished that. And then I just, all the exposure to E4, I learned about so many oddball promos and Japanese cards and uncut sheets. And I just stayed completely diving in anything I could find, anything I could get my hands on.
Yeah, well, there's just way too much to collect. You could spend a lot
Yeah,
of money.
yeah. And I've got some really like oddball stuff too. I picked up some local collections, and I've got like a lot of the marbles and the
Oh yeah.
battling coins, and I've got some of the old board games, and a lot of it's just in boxes that I'm slowly trying to work through again. And but yeah, there's just there's so much stuff. There's too much.
There sometimes is for sure. Now so we've obviously talked before, and I knew about your booster box goal of opening every box. Did you ever open first edition base?
That was the one. So I guess when I said I opened every set, that's cheating a little. I counted base unlimited. Though
Oh,
I
that counts.
did, I bought it was an open box, but I did get my hands on a shadowless box, and I was lucky enough at one point to get a black triangle box.
Oh, awesome. I've never been that lucky.
Um and one thing I was doing, I mentioned before, again when we had talked prior, but I was keeping a light art, every pack art from every box. And at the time that I finished having opened every box, well, now I naturally had a complete pack art collection, and I actually sold that on to Rusty TCA Gaming sometime a few years ago. And everything's gone up so much since then. Obviously, that has too. But the money that every time I sold something along the way, like I plowed that money right back into something else. And it was only mid last year with all the insane price increases we've seen that the first time that I've ever extracted money back out of the hobby, because it's, I mean, some of the stuff I was selling for the numbers I was selling them for, I couldn't spend as much as I was pulling out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now, so going back to when you initially started grading, how did you find out about PSA?
It was probably E4. I would
Okay.
have to assume. Like I don't really remember. It was, I think, my first sub. So late 2014, I signed up for E4. I bought my first big buy was a Phantom Forces case, not through distribution. I bought it on I forget what the website is, Potomac Distribution or something. I think they're still around.
Okay.
But I remember paying a little over $500 for a case. and barely breaking even on that.
Yeah.
Because those days booster boxes sold for 85, $90 a piece, not $150 right out of the gate. We're in a very strange time for modern.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, PSA. I remember one of the first subs that I sent. I actually some of that first $5,000. I'm telling you, I dove right in. I bought a collection that had a first edition base Charizard. It
Wow.
was like $1,000 lot. It was like $1,000 lot on eBay with a raw first edition Charizard and a bunch of. I don't think there was much else first edition, but a lot of hollows, a lot of WotC. Really big collection. And if I remember right, I think that Charizard graded a 5. And I don't have that one anymore. That was just something that I flipped into, and now I've got the complete WotC PSA 9 set.
Yep.
That was that was kind of my goal, alongside opening one of every box, to get all the chase cards in PSA 9.
Nice. Those are some lofty goals right there.
Yeah, and I, at one point or another, I pretty much completed them all, but then the market valued so many of these things more than I did, and it just got to the point where, like, I wasn't comfortable with how much money my collection was worth. Like, I'm a fairly frugal person, I guess. Like, I really don't spend a whole lot of money, and when I was looking at certain things, like I had all the gold stars on PSA 9. I had all the EX sets, the EXs, the old school ones in PSA 9, the legends, the primes, the level X's, and a lot of that stuff I sold. The gold stars I sold too soon. I sold them last March. But a lot of the stuff I sold July through December, and I mean, I was selling stuff 10 to 100 times what I had paid for it.
Oh yeah.
Only within the few years prior. But yeah.
No, that's awesome. I wish
It's
I was home for that
yeah.
whole like July through end of October period. I was away working, missing everything.
Yeah.
No, but the reason I asked you about how you found out about PSA was I didn't know if you. So for me, the only reason, or how I found out about PSA was because it's a subdivision of Collector's Universe, and part of Collector's Universe is PCGS, which does all the
Yeah.
coin grading. So I found out about grading through my dad, who was big into the coins, and I found out about grading fairly early on. I want to say it was 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. But back then I was only submitting 25, 30 cards at a time.
Do you remember what you were paying per card back then?
It was less than 10. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 per card. I actually do remember they had a 450 special at one point. I do remember that. I don't know if you remember that one.
I feel like I remember some specials, $5 to $6. I could be misremembering, but it's crazy to think that, like, only a year ago this time we had a $7.50 special during the midst of all this backlog, and that was insanity. I still have cards I haven't gotten back from that.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get yours soon, because yours got registered before mine.
Yeah.
And I just got mine back yesterday and today.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll get yours back soon. So you more or less got started with selling Pokemon on eBay, just kind of similar to everyone else, selling your duplicates, stuff that you kind of didn't want anymore. When did you start to, like, grow your eBay business and kind of expand that?
So as far as, like, when I got distribution set up and all that.
Yeah.
So it was so late 2014 was when I had bought the Phantom Forces case just through a retail website. And then I remember I was on Reddit a decent amount then. Between Reddit and E4, somehow or another, I kind of found out, hey, if you get a business license, essentially a certificate of authority, we call it in New York, you're able to call up these distributors and you're able to get it like at the ground floor. You're able to get wholesale distribution pricing. And early mid 2015 it would have been. So it happened pretty quick.
Oh, wow.
And back then I wasn't doing cases of maybe I do one case with each release. And a big thing I used to do, you see the Generations, these were one of my favorite products, the not Generations specifically, but the 4-pack with a promo and then either a jumbo or a figure.
Yep.
One thing that I did a lot early on was I'd kind of arbitrage those. I'd buy the things, buy the collection boxes or the tins that had good packs in them. Like Roaring Skies at one point, before the whole reprint thing, that was a $300 box, and you could sell the 36-pack lots for like $250, nearly $300 when Shaman was big. And so I would buy cases of the 4-pack boxes, break them down, grade some of the promos, sell some of the promos, sell the pack lots. I'd open a little bit of stuff, but never too much. So I'm kind of doing the same thing now as I was doing back then.
Yeah. So you figured out about distributors really early on.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Because I went from 2009 to, I want to say it was like 16 or 17 before I actually started selling modern product and working with distributors. I think actually my first set that I purchased from my distributor was Evolutions. So that would have been 2016.
2016, yep.
Yeah, end of 2016, beginning of 17.
So the first set that you bought was Evolutions, and then you were still able to buy it like a year ago.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it sold out when you were on the ship still, probably, right? At distributors.
I remember I got so I was away working, and I got an email from my rep at my distributor saying that Pokemon had announced Evolutions was going out of print. They had so many cases left. I forget the number he said. And at that time, so like beforehand, before I left back in June, I had a decent amount of Evolutions, and they just hadn't done anything in years. So I ended up selling them all, everything that I had. I only had like three or four cases of booster boxes, and then 3 or 4 cases of the blister packs. But I sold everything off because Evolutions hadn't moved in years.
Yep.
So I figured it wasn't going to do anything. And then I got this email in, I think it was June or July that I got the email, and I decided, I'll give it a shot, see what happens. So I actually ended up ordering 10 cases of booster boxes before they went out of print, which worked out really good for me because I was away from the time I got that email until the end of November. So by the time I got home, those boxes were already $450, $500 a piece. And if I wasn't away for that time, I definitely would have sold them beforehand.
Yeah, I know this is your full-time thing now, which you've discussed on your channel separately, but I still have a day job. I'm an engineer by day, and so kind of like the whole optimization, buying things cheap and finding arbitrage opportunities, that's just something that like comes kind of naturally to me. And I'm a big fan of numbers and spreadsheets, but given my day job and just doing this on the side, I only ship once a week on my eBay. And I remember there was one week where what I was doing was I'd list one case of Evolutions at a time.
Mhm.
And I remember the price was going up so quick that I'm just like, this isn't sustainable. There's so many out there. This is going to have to slow down eventually. Let me get rid of, I had bought somewhere around 20 cases, 25.
Yep.
And there was 1 week where I went to the post office to ship like 3 cases at a time. One had sold a week prior, one 4 or 5 days prior, and then one maybe that day. And the first one was like $1,500, and the second was like $2,000, and the third was like $3,000 or $2,500 or something. There was almost $1,000 difference between 2 of the cases I was shipping on the same day. It was wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Man. Now, since you brought up that shipping once a week, I know you have it stated in your description and the handling time and all that. Do you ever get people
Yep.
who get mad at you for not shipping the next day or the same day?
All the time. All the time. Yep. And it's I know it's tough. Like everyone's got Amazon Prime in their mind, and they're like, they click buy it now, they get the alert on their credit, like they see the thing on their credit card come up, and they're like, well, where is it? I just clicked buy it now 30 minutes ago. I want it.
Yep.
So what the way that I do it and the way that I've done it for the past year or two now, I think anybody who pays Wednesday night, we're actually filming on Wednesday night right now. So anybody who pays Wednesday night by like 5 p.m. is when I usually print my labels, 6 p.m. They'll ship out Thursday morning. So for someone who buys very late Wednesday night or very early Thursday, they're waiting that full week. And I do get a lot of messages over the weekend, early midweek, like, hey, I bought this Friday and you still haven't shipped. And I just say, yeah, as per my listing. I used to get negatives because I'd just be like, read the listing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've learned over time to be like, oh, thank you for your order. I appreciate your patience. As per my listing description, I only ship once a week.
Yeah.
I just like really copy paste a much softer message than I used to deliver manually.
Yep.
But occasionally, like when a new set comes out, like Battle Styles just came out, Shining Fates release wasn't that long ago. Especially when I'm selling like a brand new release product, I'll try to like ship out my 36 pack lots of those sets every couple days. So
Okay.
like graded cards, there's almost never a case where you buy a PSA 10 modern card that you need to have it. It's not like you're playing with it in a deck. It's not like you don't open it, you don't do anything with it, you just collect it. So I mean, some people might flip it or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
so generally speaking, I think like the graded card buyers are generally more patient,
Yep.
and people buying packs or things of that nature. I used to sell like singles and playable cards, and those ones were even worse as far as impatience. Hey, I still do get the occasional someone buys something on a Friday. My kid's birthday's Monday. Get it here. I'm
Exactly.
sure you see. Do you ship daily? I'm sure you see the same thing, even shipping daily
Oh
to
yeah,
some
no,
extent.
you definitely see it. I ship Monday through Friday
Yeah.
every day. But people who
Mm,
purchase Friday night, Saturday morning, occasionally I'll get a message from them saying, "Hey, when are you going to ship my item? Can you ship today?"
yeah.
I just say I'm going to ship first thing Monday morning. So I need a little break from packaging every day. That gets to be real old.
Yeah, especially with your volume, for
Yeah.
sure.
I was gonna ask you, when you sold like the bulk cards, kind of what I'm doing now. Were you still just shipping once a week?
I used to do, so my volume peaked probably 2016, 2017, maybe were the years that I was doing I had some listings for like $1.99 for a playset of trainers, and I had some
Yep.
single promos in the sub $20 range.
Yep.
Um, I want to say I was doing 3 times a week at one
Okay.
point, and it was just too much. And then I dialed back to 2. But I've been at 1 time a week now for probably 2 years
Yep.
since I got done selling those cheap singles and play sets
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I wasn't sure if you were doing those low value singles once a week, shipping once a week, you'd have an insane amount of packages going out the door.
Yeah, my peak volume was like 200 to 250 orders per week. So
Yeah.
that would have been a lot to do all at once. Now I do like 30 per week, but it's a little bit higher end stuff. I've been selling some of my extra boxes and stuff, and then a lot of graded cards.
Yep. Awesome. And then you've been sending your lower valued stuff to Troll and Toad.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's another future video topic. I don't know how many, most people are going to be familiar with Troll and Toad, and then probably anybody who's bought from them will be familiar with EVO merchants. Basically, you can register with them to where it's almost like FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. You send them a package, and they do all the fulfillment. They sell it. The fees are higher than eBay, surprisingly not like too much higher, but they do all the work. You send them all the stuff, and they package it, ship it, customer service, and I've been loving that. I've been on that for 2 months now, and we'll definitely get further into it in a future video. But
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's a great program for someone like me who doesn't really have. I sacrifice some margin, but it saves me a lot of time, so it's a perfect trade-off for me.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, I love the EVO program. I've been using I think it's been about a year since I signed up for it and started using it now. But that is such a good program. Glad I found out about that one.
Yeah, I think it's been around for like 5 or 6 years now too.
Yeah, yep.
I wish I knew about it. I wish I knew about it that long ago.
Oh, same here. Although I don't know if it would have done much for me back 5, 6 years ago because I didn't have the inventory back then.
I guess all it would have saved me was I did have a fair bit of inventory, not 5 years ago, but like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yep.
I would have been sending it all in and building a good base over time.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yep.
now, like what you have behind you, all those monster boxes, I've got stacks of those that I've got to go through, like 5 years worth of accumulation that I've got to push out to them now. I've been sending once a week
Oh
since I found
wow.
out about them. Like 8 weeks ago I started, and
Yep.
once a week I'm sending a couple thousand cards and some sealed packs of the new modern sets and sleeves and dice, and they do everything. It's really nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we'll do a whole other because I have we'll I won't ask those questions about Evo yet, but we'll do a whole other video involving the
Yeah, definitely.
form and all that. The only other thing I had for this video, so I know you've been doing real good with your eBay sales. Um, is there any? Have you ever thought about going full time with eBay and Pokemon now that prices have gone through the roof?
I feel like I could answer this with a really long response, and I almost feel like answering this could be its own video. But to give the short version of it, I'm astounded how far we've come as a hobby, and how much the value on so much of this stuff has increased. Like I've I was in the hobby, and I was building my collection out of a passion, and I always wanted to grow a huge collection. It was never really about the money. I always had money in mind because I just wanted to be efficient with my capital. I wanted to get more with a fixed amount of capital, and we're at the point now where just the values have gone up so much more. I'm in a like life-changing money type of situation. Potentially some of your viewers might actually remember me. Like, this is my first uh, video I'm going to be hosting on my own YouTube in this joint podcast we're going to be doing going ahead. But I interviewed a few months ago with Pokenomics Jake and with John Poke Radar. And I had mentioned in their interviews that I paid off my house last year with profits from the hobby. And I've been able to extract, while still like growing my collection, just selling off some excess. I've been able to grow my collection even further, reconsolidating in other spots. I mentioned I sold my primes and my level X's and some things like that, but I said I was going to give a short answer, but this is kind of getting long. I love it. I could see myself doing it. The money is kind of there right now. I have a little bit of concerns as far as like things are not going to sustain exactly as they are. And I know a lot of people, yourself included, and I wouldn't lump you in with this, but like I think some amount of people that are thinking about doing it full time, thinking about opening a business right now, they're projecting off of what's going on, like Shining Fates ETB.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, but definitely not forever. You're not going to be able to buy a modern booster box from distribution and double your money. You're not going to be able to buy a modern ETB and immediately triple or quadruple your money. So like, people just need to be really careful with that. And it's something that I'm kind of keeping in my mind. Like, I can't just extrapolate what I've done in these past 6 months and say, hey, let me go full time. I can make X amount per year because I made that much over the past 6 months. And so it's something that's a possibility, but I've also got a family and kid. I mean, there's a lot to be said about like the stability of a salaried job with benefits and things of that nature. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've definitely, I don't know if it's pessimism or what, but I've definitely for the past year kind of been underestimating what the prices would do, and I've been consistently surprised with how far they've been increasing. So maybe in my mind, I think this is going to end within the next year or two. Maybe it's going to go on for another 5 or 10. I have no idea. Like that's one thing I've come to realize over the past year. Like I have no idea where we're headed. I just know that I'm like, I still love the hobby. I'm here along for the ride. Right now, it's still a side thing. It's probably going to be for the foreseeable future, but maybe someday it could be full time.
Oh yeah.
I guess just to go back to you, you made the transition within the past few months to full time from a salary job. If you just want to kind of recap that a little bit and maybe give a little bit of a hindsight, like how did it go compared to your expectations? Any unexpected things, good or bad? I'd be interested to hear.
So I was talking to Gem Mint Pokemon. We went down to the Dallas Collecticon together a few weekends ago, and I was talking to him about this, and he was saying how he was saying the same thing that you're saying. He likes having the stability, the full time job, guaranteed income, health insurance, and all that. And I was telling him that my situation's good and bad with my actual job. So with my job, I work 3-4 months and then come home 3-4 months. So I was really missing out on 6 months. Take an average like 6 months a year of selling and buying Pokemon cards. So that was hurting my business overall. I wasn't able to make those sales. I wasn't able to buy those purchases. So it was definitely hurting my business having that full-time job. And then the other aspect of it is, so with my job, I'm in a union, and basically all the ships within the union, all the jobs within the union make the same amount, and they're always looking for people. So if Pokemon ever doesn't going full time with Pokemon ever doesn't work out, I'd be able to find another job relatively easy, making the same amount of money that I was making before I left my job. Whereas someone with a quote unquote normal job like what you have, you might take a while to find a job. You might start out making less
Yep.
than what you're making right now. So it's definitely a lot tougher for someone like you who has the normal job, has a family too. That's definitely tough right there.
Yep.
For me though, it really hasn't hit me that I'm full time with this just yet. Because I'm still technically on vacation from my full time job, so I think it'll take a few months to actually um, realize that I am doing this as a full time type job. But the
Yep.
biggest challenge for me is going to be having to pay for my own health insurance and kind of set money aside for retirement in a 401k or whatever. Doing that all by myself, not having an employer to kind of take care of that for me.
And that was something that I kind of thought about for like a future video as well. Just a little bit of the health insurance, maybe how that works for a self-employed individual, but neither of us are CPAs, but I'd still like to broadly touch on some of the different tax strategies. I don't know if you'd call them, but the different types of businesses and how that what effect that has on your the way you pay taxes and your tax rates. And because that's something that I'm given what last year was and how the numbers grew so much, and I'm actually undergoing a transition from a sole proprietorship to an S corporation. So we can kind of dive into a high level thing of that, not like recommendations for what anybody should do, because we're not accountants or professionals in that field,
Yeah.
but just maybe talk about it so that people can be aware, like hey, let me go find a professional in my area to research this a little more.
Yeah, exactly. And then even like the basic, well, what we would consider basic tax information, as far as deductions go, because like I know when I started having to file taxes for eBay, I never knew about like car mileage. You could deduct that, phone usage, internet bills, all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I always thought it was just how much you sold an item for, how much you paid for it equals how much you owe.
Yeah, it's basically any expense that goes into facilitating that sale. And you can't list on eBay if you don't have a phone or a computer to list from, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then there's certain considerations as far as like if it's solely for the business or if it's a certain percentage. And again, we won't get in too much into the nitty gritty, but like we'll kind of just discuss back and forth a little bit of what we do, and then people can like not take that as gospel to follow or copy, but like, hey, let me research into this on my own and consult with the proper people and find what's right for them.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's definitely a lot of stuff we can do with this podcast, and I'm super glad that we're finally able to sit down and actually do it. 'Cause we've been talking about it for, I forget when we first started talking about it, but we've been talking about doing this for a while now. So glad we're
Yeah,
able
I
to
was just gonna
get
ask
into it.
you. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you remembered when exactly that was that because you approached me about doing this podcast some time ago, a couple months maybe. I couldn't remember exactly though. Um, and then there was one thing that we kind of forgot to touch on earlier, but we had discussed talking about when we met,
You know,
and
I was thinking
I
about
guess
that.
our origin.
I
Yeah,
completely
our
forgot to bring
origins
that
go
up.
back to we had a little bit of dealings through E4 as far as the pack collection. I had sold a couple different items over the years to you. I think I sold you one of your no damage nine tails, and then some packs for your collection.
Yep.
But when we first met, person was actually in Washington, D.C. at Worlds.
Yeah. Yep. That was a
I
great
just wanted to
weekend.
bring that up. Yeah. Yeah, that was an amazing time. That was my second Worlds. I had gone to Nashville as well, but Nashville I was only there for like 24 hours. It was actually interesting. I flew down on a Friday morning and I flew out Saturday morning at like 6 a.m. I
Wow.
didn't get a hotel room. I just I pulled an all-nighter, hung out the whole time. I finished off the night until 3 or 4 a.m. hanging out with Zach Gem at Pokemon in his hotel room.
Oh
He
boy.
was opening up one of his submissions or something he had brought with him on Instagram Live.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But I just wanted to bring up, for the sake of our podcast, kind of a little bit of our origin story that maybe we'll get into further down the line. But we
Yeah,
met in
definitely.
person at Worlds, and definitely great memories from that. Meeting so many fellow collectors, and definitely well recommended whenever we get back to having Worlds again, that people check those out.
Oh, I can't wait for them to actually start having those worlds events again. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
a lot of fun. Just the Dallas one, it's still during this whole situation that we're in right now, but even that was an absolute blast. Just being able to see everyone again, because it's been so long since we've been able to actually sit down and talk to everyone and just talk about Pokemon and collecting and all that. So it'll be a good time once they have the next worlds, which will hopefully be next year.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't have too many people in my like day-to-day life that are as into the hobby as I am. So having this once a month podcast to talk Pokemon will be very fun for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I'm excited for that. Yeah, for sure. That's real exciting for sure. I got distracted there because I got a I don't know. Did you hear about Real King Pokemon? Gary from Pawn Stars says he got his Instagram back and he just sent me a message. So I got distracted there. But that's about all I
Oh,
got for this video. Or for this first podcast episode, I guess. Like Dan was saying, we're gonna try and do this once a month. That way, kind of set a schedule that's realistic for us. So that way we're not stressed out about doing this every week or every couple days or whatever. So we'll try and do it once a month. Obviously, if something comes up and we have something that real important that we want to talk about, we'll might add a few episodes here and there. But for right now, the plan is once a month towards the end of the month. And like I said in the beginning, this video right here was just kind of to get to know Dan, get to know me a little bit. The Going forward, the next couple videos, we'll actually have like set topics that we talk about and discuss. Most of the topics, like we said, going to be focused around the more or less the business aspect of Pokemon and selling Pokemon and eBay and all that kind of stuff. Still don't have a name for the podcast yet, but we'll try and think of that. If any of you guys have a good name or suggestions for different video ideas or different questions that you want to ask us and have us answer, definitely leave a comment below or shoot me an email, shoot me a Instagram message, whatever, or go follow Dan, shoot him a message, and we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. So definitely let us know what you guys think of this little podcast series, and hopefully it goes over well, and we'll definitely keep on improving going forward now. Did you have anything you wanted to add before we end this first podcast?
no, I think you pretty much covered it. Definitely looking for some feedback. If anybody wants to leave a comment with future topics, any thoughts like Nick mentioned on a potential name, or uh, any feedback on what you think of it, and if this was valuable to you, if you enjoyed the listen and you want to see more of it, definitely like and subscribe.
I'm terrible about saying that. but for sure, definitely like and subscribe to Dan's YouTube channel. Get him to post some videos on there. But it was nice talking
Yeah,
to you, Dan.
my plans right now are, yeah, definitely. It was very fun. My plans right now are just to stick with this once a month thing with you. I don't know if I'll do any solo content, but we'll see. In any case, it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to our next one.
Yeah,
We'll catch you all later.
sounds good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one.